Hi, this is Simon and welcome to another marvelous video. Commander Modesty, commonly known as Sky Lynx, is one of the greatest assets that the Autobots have in their fight against the Decepticons. Although he boasts about his triumphant records and great talents and skills more than anyone, the Lieutenant Commander of the Autobots is allowed to do so, as his mighty talk is backed up by his amazing ability to always deliver. Sky Lynx would describe himself as the incredibly gifted, unmatched in skill, and altogether spectacular robot who was responsible for many of the finest, most daring, and most adventurous moments in all of Autobot history. And none could disagree. Although this obnoxious nature makes him believe that he is above his fellow Autobots, as showcased by his rank and endless experience, his nature is something his comrades easily look over, as his presence on the battlefield is more than enough to make up for it. Now that you know the basics on Sky Lynx, let us dwell deeper into his actions in the Transformer storylines, his powers and abilities, and his endless accolades. Before we go into our explanation, we do have a very small request. If you like our content, then please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thanks, and let's begin. Sky Lynx had an extensive role in the Transformers cartoon series. Sky Lynx was an essential part of the Transformers cartoon series as a reoccurring and beloved character. Lynx enjoyed the spotlight quite a bit and has a bunch of memorable sequences that he was a part of. We will now highlight some of his most iconic contributions to the series and talk about his actions in those storylines. Sky Lynx made his legendary action sequence debut in episode 5 of season 3, titled 5 Faces of Darkness, part 5. Not that Lynx was not a generally well-known character before this episode, but he made his presence felt on the battlefield here. In the episode, the Autobots are on their final footholds as Earth and Cybertron both are threatened by the continuous and overwhelming joint assault by the Decepticons and the Quintessence. Outnumbered and heavily burdened, the Autobots were finding it difficult to keep up with the never-ending forces of their age-old enemies and their creators themselves. It was during this time of dire need that Sky Lynx stepped up, or rather flew up. On one of Jupiter's moons called Io, we first see Sky Lynx leaping into action and putting himself in danger to save 3 of his Autobot allies. It is relatively rare to see a huge asset on the battlefield risking his life to save the lives of 2 lesser Autobots and a human. Nonetheless, Lynx was able to get there in time and hurriedly save Blur, Wheelie, and Marissa Fairborn from a lethal ambush from the natives. Soon after, the 3 were attacked by the Predacons, who overpowered them by transforming into Predaking. Lynx stepped up once again and fought Predaking head-on. In their battle, Lynx was successful at making Predaking separate and returning the components back to their individual forms. With the threat of Predaking neutralized for the time being, Lynx commands the others to board him so he can take them to safety and regroup. Upon blitzing through space to reach Earth and regroup with the other Autobots and successfully rescue his allies, Lynx found himself amidst another adversary. He powered through the skies while Tripticon and the Constructicons were concentrating all of their firepower on him and barraging him with their weapons to take him down and immobilize him. Even that was not enough to keep him grounded, as his Lynx form, Sky Lynx, and proved to be resilient enough not to succumb to his injuries. Lynx was able to get his allies to safety and retrieve the transformation cock back to Metroplex. His actions were essential in keeping the fighting chance alive for the Autobots, and he completed his objectives while defeating a plethora of Decepticon forces on the way. Next, we see Sky Lynx in episode 6 of season 3, titled The Killing Jar. In this episode, a quintessence scientist has set his eyes on Ultra Magnus and is aiming to trick him into submission. To do so, the scientist and his Alicon guard disguise their ship, as Sky Lynx plans to ambush the unsuspecting Magnus while in disguise as his allies. The quintessence plan works out perfectly, as Ultra Magnus raises no suspicion at the seemingly different Sky Lynx and boards him. Inside, Magnus is attacked by an imposter, Rodimus Prime. Although Magnus was not able to distinguish between the self-proclaiming King of Kings and an inferior copy of the same, he was eventually rescued by Sky Lynx himself after facing a plethora of consequences due to his absent-mindedness. Aboard Lynx, Magnus, Marissa, and Wreck Gar safely make it back to Cybertron with another mission ending. In episode 7 of season 3, titled Chaos, Sky Lynx was approached by Cup and Grimlock to escort them to an irredeemable planet called Goo. This was after Cup was retelling the story of his encounter with with an ick-yak on Dread, the only planet where death crystals can be mined. As their investigation for the same starts, Lynx transports them to Goo, where they can find a destroyed and abandoned Earth Defense Command Station. They are initially shocked by this discovery, as they believe that the situation was made from the strongest metal available in their galaxy. Kup soon realizes that this could only be the work of the death crystals. As their research continues, they are attacked by Blastoff and Run Amok. Sky Lynx interrupts the battle to save his comrades from their opposition's onslaught, who seem to be using the death crystals. After Lynx saves them from taking lethal damage, the team makes their way to Dread. There, as the Autobots resolve to right their wrongs and stop the Decepticons from obtaining more of the death crystals, Blur finds himself in a predicament. Blur is quickly descending into a pile of mud and is unable to escape. Eventually, Lynx comes by and saves Blur from an embarrassing situation. During this time, Lynx was also orchestrating a counterattack against the Predacons, hoping to gain the upper hand. After the two factions engage in battle, Predacons, who have now turned into Predaking, face off against Sky Lynx once again. This time, Predaking is able to land a lucky shot on Lynx and partially weakening him. Eventually, after Kup's heroism pays off, Lynx is able to safely recover his allies and the prisoners that Kup rescued. As Lynx flies off into space, Kup realizes that Lynx is injured, but he is also sure that he will persevere and finish the mission. Despite his admirable feats and accolades, Lynx was faced with a bit of humiliation in episode 11 of season 3, titled Thief in the Night. In the story, Trypticon stole Fort Knox under the command and guidance of Octane. As the Autobots investigated the scene of the theft, they find traces of dinosaur transformed static, which implies the involvement of the Dinobots. Soon after this discovery, Six Gun and Scamper interrogate the Dinobots. In their makeshift court with the judge being Metroplex, not only are they questioning the Dinobots, but also Sky Lynx. This is because they believe that Lynx also has dinosaur electrons inside his circuits, which technically denote him a Dinobot. Infuriated by such allegations and a flawed way of prosecution, Lynx refuses to take part in their kangaroo court and displays his anger. In episode 16 of season 3, titled Web World, Sky Lynx showcases his battle IQ and strategist mindset when the Autobots are suddenly ambushed by a battalion of Decepticons led by Galvatron. While the Decepticons search the known galaxy for a material called Isidrite, the Autobots prove to be one step ahead of them, as they already established a full-on mining operation for the material in a distinct location. Eventually, Rat-Bat is able to find the same Isidrite deposit with the Autobot mining station, and he informs Galvatron of it. As the Decepticons head straight to location, they ambush the unsuspecting Autobot troops and attempt to take over the mining operation. During the battle, however, Galvatron displays signs of uncontrolled madness. He ensures his wrath, strikes down on anything that moves. Due to this, the battle is not as one-sided as the Autobots believe it would be, since Galvatron is destroying more Decepticons than Autobots. With this unlikely occurrence, Sky Lynx takes control of the situation and uses Galvatron's strange behavior to his advantage. Lynx is able to buy the Autobots enough time to make a clean escape and minimize all sorts of casualties. Due to Lynx's quick thinking, the Autobots return relatively unharmed and are also able to secure the previously mined Isidrite. These were just some of the plethora of appearances Sky Lynx has made in the cartoon series. His involvement in the missions of the Autobots is directly proportional to the success rate of the Autobots, because he is simply that good on the battlefield. Not only is Lynx an excellent form of transport, as he can harbour a lot of population and is unbelievably fast, but also because his battle prowess is unmatched and he is quite capable of resisting a lot of damage while ensuring the safety of his comrades. Imagine a tanky but speedy ally by your side who is always able to make the best decisions possible and turn the tide of the battle in your favour. Who would not wish to have such a teammate by their side? Other such accolades of Sky Lynx include the revival of Optimus Prime, which was only possible due to the employment of Lynx's skills, speed, and overall execution of commands. Lynx was tasked with obtaining a quintesson by Rodimus Prime during the Hate Plate Crisis. Rodimus needed a quintesson actively on site, as he would be able to resurrect Optimus Prime when he was most needed. On multiple occasions, Sky Lynx has displayed amazing leadership qualities. He took over command when it was most needed and when the Autobot armies were without proper direction. Despite his boasting nature, every one of his comrades that knows Lynx, he is a master when it comes to taking action and giving out commands. Even though Lynx's tactics might not prove to be insanely effective at destroying the opposition, his plans are always successful in maintaining position and saving as many soldiers as they can. With his defensive approach and skill set, Sky Lynx has saved countless lives of lesser Autobots. Exploring his Marvel Comics continuity. During the time when Grimlock was dubbed the leader of the Autobots on Earth, Wheeljack, who was a longtime friend and comrade of Sky Lynx, requested him to arrive on Earth due to the complacency of Grimlock's leadership. Wheeljack was well informed of Lynx's accolades and had witnessed his battle prowess, combat IQ, and defamation firsthand, which provided him with some solace, knowing that a capable fighter would soon be by their side. Upon the arrival of the much-awaited and revered Sky Lynx, upon Wheeljack's command, he was set to be uninvolved in the initial stages, although not the greatest decision to keep one of their strongest warriors on the sidelines. It makes sense that the Autobots sought to keep Sky Lynx as a sort of wild card that would turn the tide of battle after his late arrival. But Lynx's arrival was not in the best of situations. It was after Grimlock had punished some of the juvenile humanoids out into space by kicking them out of the airlock of Ark. This was because Grimlock believed them to be perpetrators who were conspiring with Blaster, but with fortune, Sky Lynx arrived at the right time and saved these humanoids from their eventual deaths, and also faced off against the Dinobots during his rescue mission. Although Lynx did not put on a display of offensive measure, his evasive maneuvers against the Dinobots were stellar, and it proved to be quite a commendable feat. Eventually, Blaster returned and turned himself in for prosecution by Grimlock in return for the kids and Sky Lynx's safety. Now off into outer space with the kids secured safety, Lynx could have directly taken them to their homes and departed, but instead, Lynx chose to take them to a traveling space carnival so that they could have a good time and have fun while they were at it. Since the kids had no money of their own and Sky Lynx never needed to carry any, he offered the carnival his services in return for the tickets for the kids. Like an absolute sweetheart, Lynx put the needs of the kids first and his own wants second. But this ordeal backfired, as the contract that Lynx signed was not the best thing that could happen to them. Rather, it made them unwilling participants in a horrible carnival. Upon the revelation, Sky Lynx instantly started devising a plan to make an escape while ensuring the kids were safe. But this time, it was Lynx's time to be rescued and not the rescuer. Optimus Prime and the Power Masters somehow located them and rescued the whole entourage from the grasp of alien species that populated the traveling carnival called Gila Sharks and the rocket cycle racer Rosa. Afterwards, Sky Lynx set off into space once again and reached Earth to return to the space hikers back to their homes. Like always, the humans were not too keen on a bird-like spaceship that was actually a robot to be entering their planet, and Lynx was soon driven away from Earth despite his reluctance. Not long after, Sky Lynx was captured and held captive by the Mechanibals. As their name suggests, the Mechanibals are sentient but mechanical life forms that consume other sentient mechanical life forms. These horrific creatures were planning to devour Sky Lynx and sell the remaining parts of his body onto the black market to unsuspecting buyers. With a bit of skill and a lot of luck, Cloudburst and Landmine stumbled upon Sky Lynx while attempting to make a deal with the Mechanibals under disguise. They were shocked to see Sky Lynx as their prisoner and a meal going forward. The two then abandoned their plans and switched their objective to saving Lynx from his fate. They were eventually able to set Lynx free and make an escape, resulting in no casualties. But in doing so, they broke their disguises and ended up on the hit list of the Mechanibals. Indebted to the Pretenders, Cloudburst and Landmine for saving his life, Sky Lynx waited for the perfect time to repay his debt by coming to the aid of the two when they needed it the most. When the two were continuously being pillaged and depredated by the Power Masters, Dreadwind and Darkwing, Sky Lynx came to the aid of their friends and easily defeated the two Decepticons, freeing Landmine and Cloudburst from their wrath. After a successful rescue mission, Sky Lynx was also able to investigate and discover that Throttle and High Test were the binary bonded partners of the two Decepticons. With this revelation, the Autobots devised a plan to take down their assailants. They enacted their plan by first making Sky Lynx hold the Nebulans hostage. During this time, the Pretenders bartered with their Mechanibals and essentially blackmailed them into making reparations for all of their former victims. With this deal, the Mechanibals were made to reconstitute everyone that had previously suffered the ill fate of being a victim to them. Looking back at his IDW comic continuity, 2005. In the 2005 IDW continuity of Transformers, Sky Lynx played significant roles in several storylines, demonstrating his impressive skills and talents as an Autobot. Sky Lynx is one of the most powerful members of the Autobots. He has proven time and time again that his involvement during a battle means a higher chance of victory. This piece of information is not just a subjective point of view, rather it is a fact made from countless observations. For example, when Scorponok decided to attack and possibly invade the Taraxis mega refinery, the Autobots dispatched a strike force to shut down their assailants' advances. This strike force went to the destination of the mission aboard Sky Lynx. Naturally, Lynx's presence meant that the Autobots had already ensured their victory, as his involvement in petty matters is basically overkill. After successfully saving the refinery, Lynx was tasked with preventing a riot that was taking place at Starreach Spaceport. Again, Lynx followed his orders to great success. It was a relatively common occurrence where Sky Lynx would entertain his passengers with stories of his amazing feats and glorious victories and accolades. Such was the case when Lynx was tasked with finding the missing aerial bots, while Ironhide found his safe haven alongside the Dinobots. Although many of the Autobots find Lynx's storytelling obnoxious, his stories, although they sound unbelievable, are still deemed to be true because everyone knows how great Sky Lynx actually is on the battlefield. However, since he is his own biggest fan, you would find Lynx as the only repetitive storyteller in the group. Sky Lynx continued to provide his worth as a superior mode of transportation in many of the storylines where the Autobots required a reliable spaceship to travel to destinations that were filled with armies of hostile beings, be it Decepticon warships and anti-air mechanisms, the barrage of missiles from Earth's fortifications, or the defense mechanism of the Junkians. Sky Lynx was ready to take them all. He consistently was showered with enemy firepower but never shielded away from completing the mission. Proving his resilience time and time again, Lynx cemented himself as one of the best assets the Autobot armies have on many of the missions that he went on. Apart from the regular appearances from Sky Lynx as a reliable transporter, the massive robotic bird was one of a few that were present when Unicron made his return. Since the Planet Eater was obviously not there to make amends or shake hands, Sky Lynx bravely was on the front line when the team was preparing a counterattack on the Chaos Bringer. Even during this battle of massive proportions, Sky Lynx's abilities were on pure display as he saved the Dinobots and other remaining colonist recruits from certain death. After the battle with Unicron was over, Lynx patted himself on the back. Satisfied with his involvement in the greatest battle of them all, he was rightfully proud of his actions, as he was not only one of the main forms of applying offensive pressure, but he was also needed when it mattered the most, in saving the lives of countless others. All of the decisions Lynx made during the battle paid off, and it is a testament to his countless years of experience and great leadership qualities. Throughout the IDW continuity, Sky Lynx demonstrates his intelligence, strategic thinking, and combat prowess. He was a valuable asset to the Autobot cause, often taking on leadership roles and fighting fiercely to protect his fellow Autobots and innocent life. Sky Lynx's impressive actions in the IDW continuity earned him a reputation as a powerful and respected member of the Autobot team. What makes Sky Lynx so powerful? Sky Lynx is a proud and powerful Autobot, known for his unique ability to transform into a bird-like creature or a space shuttle. His powers and abilities include incredible speed, agility, and strength in both modes. He can fly at high speeds and travel through the vacuum of space in his shuttle mode. Sky Lynx also possesses a powerful flame breath attack, a blaster weapon, and guided missiles. Sky Lynx's presence on the battlefield is formidable. Thanks to his combination of speed, strength, and firepower, he is a strategic thinker, unable to assess situations quickly, making him a valuable asset in any battle. Sky Lynx is also highly intelligent and capable of communicating with other species, making him an excellent example of a formidable Autobot. A few of his biggest strong points are flight. Sky Lynx has the ability to fly at high speeds, both in robot and beast modes. He's one of the most reliable modes of transportation that the Autobots possess, and this is evident through the limitless missions that he has been on. Throughout his mastery of flight, Lynx had proven essential on multiple occasions when it came to rescuing allies, retrieving items, or escorting his comrades to the location of the mission. His speed matters most when the Autobots call on him as a last resort, when they are facing heavy adversaries and require assistance as soon as possible. Resilience. Time and time again, Lynx resorts to simply receiving all the oncoming damage onto himself so that his allies can recover safely. This is only possible through his insurmountable level of resilience and extremely high defenses. He even survives an explosion in space that destroys an entire planet, highlighting his durability further. Enhanced strength. In robot mode, Sky Lynx possesses incredible physical strength, allowing him to lift heavy objects and engage in hand-to-hand combat. An example of this is when Lynx was fighting one of the strongest Decepticons, Predaking. In a face-to-face battle, Lynx eventually was triumphant as he was able to return Predaking back to his separate forms, that is, the Predacons. Beast mode and shuttle mode. Sky Lynx can transform into a two-headed dragon or a robotic bird, giving him enhanced agility, speed, and maneuverability. His shuttle mode allows him to blitz through entire solar systems in a relatively less amount of time. He's one of the best at what he does, and he proves this time and time again. He is also capable of carrying a large number of passengers on board without sacrificing any of his speed. Fire breath and plasma shroud. Sky Lynx's dragon mode allows him to breathe a stream of intense flames that can incinerate anything in its path. He is shown to use this ability quite frequently, and honestly, who wouldn't? Another one of his abilities is the plasma shroud. Though the use of this ability, Lynx can either lower the effectiveness of the weapons of his opponents or weaken their defenses to deal more damage, depending on the situation. Solar flare. Sky Lynx can produce a powerful blast of light from his wings, blinding enemies and illuminating dark places. Although this is technically not an ability that is used as a weapon, the intensity with which Lynx can use his technique makes it a formidable tool in his arsenal. This blinding flash of light can allow Lynx and his allies some important time to regroup, retreat, or find better positioning. Scanning. Sky Lynx can scan objects and environments to gather information and identify potential threats. Usually this ability works best during intel gathering parts of the mission. While Lynx scans the area for possible information, he also devises plans according as proven by numerous of his feats. The Autobots are aware of Lynx's information gathering abilities, and that is why they task him with such missions, as he delivers spectacularly. Intelligence. Sky Lynx is incredibly intelligent and well-spoken. He often uses his wits and intellect to outsmart his enemies. He's made countless decisions that have proven fruitful during the heat of the battle. His strategic thinking works best when put into dangerous predicaments, as he is always able to think of the best possible solution to any varying intensity of a problem. His actions and tactics have resulted in the survival of many of his allies, and also resulted in the success of a plethora of rescue missions. Overall, Sky Lynx's exceptional skills and talents make him a powerful and respected member of the Autobot armies.
Board, quickly!
Conclusion. Sky Lynx is a formidable and unique character in the Transformers universe, known for his impressive size and power, as well as his distinctive design as a hybrid of both a dragon and a bird. He has been involved in many important storylines throughout the franchise's history, and he serves as a trusted ally to the Autobots in their fight against the Decepticons. With his incredible speed, strength, and agility, Sky Lynx is a fearsome opponent in battle and is capable of adapting to a wide range of combat scenarios. Additionally, he has demonstrated impressive intelligence and resourcefulness, making him a valuable asset in both battle and strategic planning. In conclusion, Sky Lynx is a fan favorite character whose many accolades and impressive abilities have helped to solidify his place as a beloved icon in the Transformers universe. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.